Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gland Bodybuilding. Motion. And today I'm going to talk to you about simplicity, and that one of the most important things to remember when you are using any exercise is if you are able to exert intensity upon that chosen muscle group, you will get growth. You will get some results, right? And sometimes this is with a lower range of motion, sometimes it's with a higher range of motion. But there's going to be that sweet spot that you find that seems to exert the most amount of tension and exertion and fatigue on a certain muscle group. And that's the one that will give you the result. So you see this all the time with a lot of exercises where somebody will lower the weight and then at the bottom, to get that extra stretch, they almost relax a bit and then try to dig themselves out of that hole and then lift the weight again. So not only are they losing the constant tension factor, they're also losing the added elasticity on the muscle that's used to protect the joint and keep it in one piece, right? So when you get into that sort of hole where you relax a bit, sometimes the shoulders, for instance, will sublux a bit or basically become a bit looser because now the muscles are not as tense. And when they're tense, they hold the joint together. They hold the shoulder together. So it's the same thing with the knees and the hips and so forth. So I think you know where I'm going with this. The bottom line is that it's not about doing the perfect form or doing the perfect range of motion. It's more like the perfect range of motion that helps you keep that tension and that intensity on the muscle group. And of course, the added bonus is to protect the joint at the same time, right? You want both of those things to coexist, right? So sometimes you'll see me when I'm bench pressing where I'll go a little bit lower, maybe I'll touch my chest, maybe I won't. But as I'm going through the exercises, I'm feeling my way through the exercise to keep the tension on the muscle I want to hit. And sometimes, yeah, I'll do a little partial range in there or whatever to feel that intensity in that area. I'm actually hyper-focusing that intensity in that area because I can feel that it's exerting the tension where I want it to go. It's not because I'm just trying to cheat myself through the reps or get an extra rep or two, although, you know, that could be also a game that I play once in a while just to get as many reps as I can. But the truth is that as long as exertion and fatigue are happening on those particular muscles within a minute to 2 minutes period of time in the set, I'm going to be adding to my muscular gains. So you can see how simple this is, right? It's not so complicated by trying to find the perfect angle and the perfect way of doing things. Although, yeah, you could start to get creative at some point, but there is a point to where you might get too creative, where you'll notice that by changing your form, you might be actually taking tension off the areas you want to hit and maybe putting the tension on another area altogether just because it looks correct. Or maybe because in theory, it should work based on all the anatomical knowledge you may have. But sometimes what looks good on paper does not necessarily translate to the physical reality, right? You know, what's digital does not necessarily translate to analog. And that's the thing you want to remember. So you see, so really what I'm pointing you towards is that during my sets, you'll see that I adjust my form as I go because I'm constantly on a need-to-know basis of where that tension should be. And sometimes I'm adjusting my tension too because I can feel that the forces are not working correctly during one part of the range of motion, and I'm trying to make sure that I readjust and recalibrate. You know, maybe I'm shifting a shoulder in one place or another, or sticking the chest out a bit more or less. You know, I'm making these little calibrations as I go and never shutting down my awareness just because I have an idea of what my form's going to be. I still feel and use my awareness through the set to make sure that everything is feeling correct, rather than just saying, oh, this feels kind of weird. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down and overstretch, right? That's a mistake a lot of people make where they shut their awareness off during the set and they just have a preconceived notion of what they're going to do rather than feeling through the process. Kind of like a bat, you know, like bats, they basically screech to find their way. At least the blind ones do. They use echolocation. Well, it's almost the same thing with your muscles. You're using this constant location to make sure that everything is firing correctly and adjusting as you go from rep to rep. Not every rep will look the same. If something pops up or something happens or you feel a twinge or maybe something feels tighter than it's supposed to, then you may adjust. So yeah, don't be afraid to adjust your form workout to workout or rep to rep as you need it, because sometimes that will save you from an injury and at the same time help you concentrate all that force on a muscle and get the most possible results. Mountain. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgalantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the page supporters, and take care for now.